Hello, and how are you doing today? We go through a lot of changes throughout life, and one of the things that I've had to experience in life is dealing with cerebral palsy. So, because I have it, I wanted to go over the positives of having cerebral palsy because I'm a slightly optimistic person, but I'm mainly a realistic person. But these are all realistic positives of having cerebral palsy. So the first three are going to be governmental aids. The second two are going to be sociological. So number one is you can get Social Security or disability. It's not something I get, but it's something that you can get if you have cerebral palsy. That would be an advantage. What I'd encourage about this is if you have a child who has it and they are able to work and be productive, I'd encourage you not to go into it right away because you can make a lot of money, and I think it's about $3,000 a month where a person can make, and if they make that, they can't get the Social Security disability anymore. So sometimes it might enable them to be lazy because they're like, I don't need to work because I already get my disability check, and it might make you to where, you know, you live out life and you don't ever do anything. So I'm kind of opposed to that, but it's something that could be an advantage. Number two, handicap placard. I took advantage of this for a few years. Basically, you can get a handicap placard if you have a mobility disability. That's if you can drive. A lot of people with cerebral palsy can't. I can drive. I had it for about 5 years when I was in college and having to walk far, you know, to go into class. But when I had that, I could park right next to the class without ever having issues finding parking space. Number three, this is something else I took advantage of, was college aid or scholarship for having a disability. And this primarily would be to help limit the amount of people with mobility or disabilities that, you know, might live on the government to not, because they can help them get educated, which ultimately can economically help them throughout life. So I took advantage of that. That's the most positive thing that I can think of for me personally. Like I said, I'm not going to deny I'm a realist. I'm slightly an optimist, definitely not a pessimist, but slightly an optimist. I view cerebral palsy as being a lot harder to have than not to have, for sure. People expect less of you, and some people won't like me saying this, but it's true. If you have to move, like if your neighbor's moving, they're not going to have somebody with cerebral palsy come over and help it move. So there's going to be certain things that you kind of luck out on life and don't have to do because people don't expect you to do them. It can be looked at as a negative thing because generally responsibility leads to power, leads to other things, wealth. Another one is some sensitive people are very kind, and it can be a conversation starter. And it's kind of like when you break your arm, it can be a conversation starter. Sometimes it can be disrespectful. the way people approach asking you, and you got to be careful with that. But yeah, it's tough to have it, but there are a few positives, and obviously if you have it and you can think of another one, please let me know. But I think I just about nailed them all. So anyways, have a great day. Thank you.